way tonight, the local derby between the Buxton Hitmen and the Stoke Potters. Let's now look at the two teams, and we'll start with the home side, Buxton. Their captain at number 1, Mark Burrows. At 2, it's Scott Donovan. 3, Andre Compton. 4, Jamie Isherwood. At 5, it's Richard Webb, and in the reserve berths, we have Justin Walker at 6, Jason Reid at 7. For the Potters, their captain also at number 1, Chris Cobby. 2 is A.D. Hoole. 3, Glyn Taylor. 4, Craig Taylor. 5, rider replacement will operate for the injured Mike Hampson, and at reserves it's Colin Thorpe at 6, Drew Weldon at 7, and the number 8 for the Potters tonight is Chris Simpson. The team managers, Jack Lee for the home side, Jim McMillan for the Potters. The lineup then for Heat 1. Red, Mark Burrows. Blue, Scott Donovan. White, Chris Cobby. Yellow-black, A.D. Hoole.
Well, this tight little racetrack here in up on the hills in Derbyshire is staging what is really the Academy's equivalent, most local derby, the two closest teams in the Academy League. When you think that the 8-team league spreads from as far apart as Exeter to Edinburgh, this really is the closest of a derby. Stoke used to have their derbies when they were in the second division with either Ellesmere Port or Long Eaton, but having dropped down to the Academy League, this really is their equivalent of a local derby, with Buxton in their second season in this league. As I say, it was known as the Reserve League last year. This year it's known as the Academy League, but Buxton's second season in Speedway, and a good crowd has come over from Stoke too, and also from Bellevue, with Bellevue riding away on their normal race night Friday. They're down there at Arena Essex tonight. A good few Bellevue supporters have made the journey up into the Peak District to see the stars of tomorrow, and of course there's also those 3 match races between Peter Collins and Chris Morton. We'll be seeing those later. At the moment though, the action is about to get underway, and as we say, a good crowd come over here to watch it tonight, and it does appear to be Buxton who have won the toss, because they're lining up in gates 1 and 3 here in the first race, and that's usually the decision that the winning team makes of the toss. And although, as I said, with no parade, we're not quite sure, but we presume that Buxton have won the toss because they're in gates 1 and 3, and Mark Burrows out here as the captain has selected himself as the inside gate for the first race. Well, it certainly looks a very strong duo at 1 and 2 for Stoke, with Chris Cobby and A.D. Hoole. They've both been around a bit, as they say, seen action in second division, and I think Chris Cobby has ridden in the first division with Wolverhampton too, so he should feel well at home here and confident of picking up some points. Well, we'll see what he can do, but this track is pretty small and tight. May take a bit of time for the visitors to get used to. Here we go then, the action starts here. Well, Mark Butter's got a good start there, but found himself in third place. Charges through past A.D. Hoole, but it's Cobby that leads. Cobby then from Burrows. Hoole and Donovan the riding order. Oh, Burrows really knows how to throw the bike round on these tight corners, and now he's challenging on the inside of Cobby. The end of two laps. Could be another challenge. Oh, he's through, bolting past the home straight at the start of lap 3. Drifts very wide, but holds on to the lead, and that's exciting stuff from the home captain. Mark Burrows, with a lap to go, has come from third to first and heads Chris Cobby into the first bend of the last lap. We've got a faller down at the bottom end. The end of the third lap. Scott Donovan's hit the deck. That race has been stopped. I presume that the referee, who is Mr. Dowling tonight, will have awarded that because the other guys were on the last lap. That suggests it could well be an awarded race. Scott Donovan's still down there. The Stoke riders perhaps hopeful of a rerun to see if they can improve on that, because no, it has been announced, it has been awarded. Mark Burrows does pick up the 3 points for the home side. Chris Cobby and A.D. Hoole are getting second and third, and they're awarded that, with Scott Donovan still down there on the track. Took quite a heavy spill there at the end of lap 3. Let's hope he's okay to continue in the rest of the meeting. It certainly was quite a heavy bump down there, and as the other riders return to the pits, Scott is being attended to down there on the third bend. And we've started with some rare old action here in the very first race. We've got a superb overtaking manoeuvre from Mark Burrows coming through from third to first rather. A great display from him. We've also seen a spill to Scott Donovan down there and an awarded race. It's all happening here at Buxton tonight. 3-all after one race. Heat 2. Red, Justin Walker. Blue, Jason Reed. White, Colin Thorpe. Yellow-black, Drew Wheeldon. 3-all the score then, one race gone. The news on Scott Donovan is he's suffered an arm injury and he's going to hospital. But he doesn't appear to be too badly injured. That was the news we've been given. But that could well affect Buxton's chances tonight, because if they're without their number 2 for the rest of the meeting, it's going to be very difficult to cover. He has to have 2 more programme rides, so in effect, if he doesn't return, Buxton will have to put out just one rider in 2 of his last 3 programme starts, which is rather cheating the public, I feel, but those are the rules for 95. Let's see what transpires and hope that Scott is back and able to take his part in the rest of the meeting. Okay, Jason Reed and Justin Walker out here representing the hitmen. The Potters have Colin Thorpe and Drew Wheeldon. Well, we saw Justin Walker on the interview beforehand. He's hopeful of getting some points tonight. Certainly he was scoring well from the number 1 berth for Buxton at the start of the season. Now he finds himself in the reserve berth, should really be rattling up the points, and that's just what the hitmen are going to be needing tonight, is a high scoring reserve, maybe possibly taking extra rides as the meeting progresses. 3-3 the score at the moment. Good start from Walker. Makes a mistake though on the first bend. That allows Thorpe through. Walker suddenly found himself at the back. Engine problems for Jason Reed, and suddenly Stoker on a 5-1 after Justin Walker got a terrific start. It's Colin Thorpe from Drew Wheeldon. Justin Walker, Jason Reed's got going again, but he's a long way behind. Here's the challenge coming now from Justin Walker at the end of lap 2. Charges through on the inside of Wheeldon and hits second place. Again, he's lost it a little bit on these first 2 bends. Recovers going up the back straight. I say going up it because there is definitely an uphill up the back straight and downhill down the home straight there, but Colin Thorpe's enjoying himself. He's only got half a lap to go, and he's short of 3 points here in heat number 2. Well, there's a faller down here. Jason Reed's turn it is to hit the deck this time. But the race does manage to finish this time. Although Jason Reed was at the back when he fell. He's up and looking at his machinery here on bend 2. Justin Walker, after a good start, seemed unable to quite control it on these first 2 bends. He lost it. Everybody went charging past him. And although Jason Reed had engine problems and Drew Wheeldon temporarily took up second place, Justin fought back to recapture that and split the Potters. But it's an heat advantage to the visitors, and they take the lead 7-5 on the progressive scores. 3, red, Andre Compton. Blue, Jamie Isherwood. White, Glenn Taylor. Yellow-black, Craig Taylor. So it's 7-5 to the Stoke Potters. Oh, and Andre Compton's left at the start. Jamie Isherwood does well. He's out there in front of Glenn Taylor, with Craig Taylor in third. Andre Compton's trying to push start his machine, but I think he is actually going, but he's almost a complete lap behind everybody else. Through on the inside comes Glenn Taylor, plus Jamie Isherwood. Isherwood fights back. There's contact there. Well, it's all happening here. It looks as though Andre Compton's in the lead, but he is almost a full lap behind the others. Really, it's Glenn Taylor leading from Jamie Isherwood, with Craig Taylor third. Andre Compton just engine cut out on the start line. Isherwood hasn't given up here as he tries to get past Glenn Taylor as they move into the last lap. But it's still Glenn Taylor leading Isherwood. Craig Taylor in a fairly comfortable third, because Andre Compton is now into the last lap, but Taylor's won it. Glenn Taylor, that is. 2 points then to Jamie Isherwood, who got a good start there. Craig Taylor picks up a comfortable third place point. Still racing is Andre Compton, but he's not going to get a point. He's finished, come through the finishing line now, and Well, it's certainly all happened there again in heat number 3. Andre Compton looked fast enough when he got going, but just gave the others too much of a start there. And as he returns to the pits, he will be bitter disappointed with the engine problems he encountered in that one. So the second progressive 4-2 heat advantage to the Potters gives them a progressive total of 11 points to 7. They lead with 3 heats gone. 3 points then to, well, 4-2 there to the Taylors. No relation, of course, but Glenn Taylor picked up the win. 1 point for his namesake Craig. Heat 4, red, Richard Webb. Blue, Jason Reed. White, rider replacement outing for Colin Thorpe. Yellow-black, Drew Wheeldon. So it's the Potters in pole position at the moment. 11-7 they lead. And with a tricky track like this, one would have expected that they may have taken a little time to settle, and would have perhaps expected the Buxton to make the early running, with maybe Stoke coming stronger towards the end of the meeting. It's not the way it started, and the Buxton hitmen will be hoping that the positions are completely reversed, and it's them who come stronger towards the end of the meeting. Well, Mike Hampson is not riding tonight. Rider replacement will operate. He's down at number 5 in the programme. In his first 2 programme starts, believe it or not, he's actually down at number 4 for the second half of the programme, so I don't quite know how we're going to overcome that. But certainly a rider replacement ride goes to Colin Thorpe this time. Colin had a win in heat number 2 over Justin Walker, so he'll be fairly confident. Hopefully he'll be thinking he can pick up some more points here. Richard Webb we haven't yet seen. He's the only man still to take the track here tonight. He's in red off gate 3. Well, it's the 2 number 6s. There's actually Jason Reed, who should be... oh, he's gone down again. He's hit the deck once more. And it's Colin Thorpe who leads. Colin Thorpe from Richard Webb. The race has stopped. Actually, that might well be Justin Walker. He certainly was wearing a number 6 on his back. He's not be... if we haven't been informed of it. Well, certainly it does look as though it was Justin Walker who got the reserve ride there, because it was him. The man who fell was the man wearing number 6, but whoever it was, he's out, because he's been excluded for the stoppage, and that can hardly be disputed, because he was out there in the lead, but lost it on the 4th bend of lap 1. So we'll be going with a rerun with just 3 remaining riders, and Richard Webb has to take on Colin Thorpe and Drew Wheeldon duo from Stoke on his own. It's an exclusion then for Justin Walker. But we weren't informed of a change in heat 4 there to the man in blue. Certainly it was the man wearing number 6 that took the spill and was excluded. So can Richard Webb battle back here in the rerun of heat number 4? He's got a Potter on either side of him. Needs a good start, but it's Thorpe who gets the best one. Webb does enough to hold Drew Wheeldon at bay. Wheeldon's a good way back, and Webb now challenging up front on Colin Thorpe. Anything can happen on these tight corners. Mistakes are there. These young, inexperienced lads who are going to learn by the mistakes, but the mistakes still happen occasionally. Now, Colin Thorpe's not made one yet. He won heat 2 and looks as though he could be doubling that to a 6-point tally from 2 starts. Into the last lap. Thorpe built up a big lead. Richard Webb's going to have to settle for 2nd spot here. And after a 3-all shared race, the next 3 races have all gone 4-2 heat advantages to Stoke. And they now have a 6-point lead. Colin Thorpe has 6 points to himself with a win in heat 2 and a win in heat 4. And that is obviously pleasing for him. We saw many of these riders. We do the actual video in at Cradley Heath Speedway, and a few weeks ago they had an individual junior meeting down there, and many of these riders on duty here tonight competed there. Colin Thorpe didn't have a very good night that night. Andre Compton certainly did. It'll be interesting to see how he goes to the rest of the meeting, because Of course, his engine died on the liner. He had an excellent meeting down there. We'll be watching him with interest. Aidy Hoole was there too, as was Colin Thorpe, Drew Weldon, and Scott Donovan. Okay, 4-2 once again to Stoke. 15 points to 9 they lead after 4 races, and things are looking good for the visitors, certainly at the moment. Heat 5. Red, Andre Compton. Blue, Jamie Isherwood. White, Chris Cobby. Yellow-black, Aidy Hoole. Well, an intriguing looking race this one, heat number 5. Andre Compton looked pretty quick in his first one, but was too slow away, of course, after the engine problems on the line, so we'll be interested to see how he goes with a good start. Jamie Isherwood, he looked pretty fast too. He was beaten by Glyn Taylor, but held off Craig Taylor in heat number 3 to split the Potters there, but it's a pretty strong duo out for the Potters in Cobby and Hoole. Although having said that, they are the only duo not to have yet picked up a heat advantage because they shared the first race 3-all. So as we say, an intriguing looking race. This one could go either way. Certainly Buxton really need it to go to them. They can't afford to fall further behind. They're 6 down already after 4. The score's 15-9 in favour of the Potters. A fight back is needed, and needed quickly. Well, it's the Potters who gain the fastest. But charging through goes Andre Compton. He's hit the front, and Isherwood comes charging through past Cobby, who's suddenly gone from first to last. Up front there, it's Compton. He leads from Hoole. Hoole now coming under pressure from Isherwood. And Isherwood challenging in the same spot. He took Cobby there, and he's got through. Well, it started as a 5-1 in Stokes' way, but Buxton have pulled that back to a 5-1 in their favour. Into the last lap, exciting stuff. Andre Compton showing just what he can do when he gets a good start. He came through past the 2 Stoke men. His partner Jamie Isherwood followed suit, and he came charging through. He's going to get a paid win, and this match is back in the melting pot. Andre Compton, first blood to him after that disappointment of the first race. Paul Isherwood, very, very pleased there as his partner turns round to acknowledge the paid win by Jamie Isherwood there. It's a 5-1 in favour of the home side. The gap is pulled back to 2 points because with 5 races gone, it is Andre Compton and Jamie Isherwood's 5-1 as they come round for a lap of honour to give the home side 14 points. Aidy Hoole's single point there moves the Potters on to 16. They're still 2 points up, but these are the heroes for the home side, Buxton, with the Isherwood and Compton duo showing exactly what they can do and how expertise they are on these tight bends of the High Edge Raceway. Heat 6, red, Mark Burrows. Blue, reserve outing for Jason Reed. White, rider replacement ride for Glyn Taylor. Yellow-black, Colin Thorpe. Well, this should be a good one. Mark Burrows won the heat number 1 from the back. Glyn Taylor, he had a win to his name in heat number 3. That was exciting stuff. These two are out in opposition. No Scott Donovan, he has not returned from hospital reserve. Jason Reed gets the extra ride, whilst Colin Thorpe, who has 6 points from 2 starts, 2 wins to his name, comes out for his second programme ride. Of course, he's already had a rider replacement outing. He had the first one. Glyn Taylor gets this one this time, so it's a very formidable duo from Stoke. Out of 3 starts, neither of those 2 riders has yet dropped a point. But Mark Burrows, he can show the form he showed back there in heat number 1. Could well be a match for them here. Jason Reed took a spill first time out. He'll be hopeful of staying aboard, but the opposition is going to be tough. He has got the advantage of the inside gate. Can he make it pay? From the inside then, it's Reed, Taylor, Burrows and Thorpe. 14 to the Hitmen, 16 to the Potters. Heat 6. It's a rare old battle there between Burrows and Taylor. It was Jason Reed who just died on the line, and he's out of this one, so once again Mark Burrows has to fight the lone battle for the Hitmen. But he's doing it pretty well there as he leads Glyn Taylor with Colin Thorpe in third, and it looks as though both those Stoke men could lose out on their maximum here in heat 6. This will keep the Hitmen to within 2 points of the visitors. Burrows just taking a little time to negotiate that top bend, but comes into the last lap with a good 8-length lead. Glyn Taylor, who's going to drop his first point. Colin Thorpe will have to settle for paid second. And that's the way it finished. Not so exciting when Burrows gets such a good start. He got a pretty poor one in his first outing and really thrilled the crowd. That time he got a good gate and had it won really from the back straight of the first lap. There was nothing that Taylor or Thorpe could do about that. Jason Reed, well, his nightmare continues. He just died on the line as the tapes went up. His engine just cut right out on him, and he had to pull over and out of that one. But the progressive scores with 6 races gone, with Mark Burrows now looking like the only man who can pick up a maximum here tonight. He has kept his side within 2 points because they are on 17 to the Potters 19. Heat 7, red, Richard Webb, blue, Justin Walker, white, Glyn Taylor, yellow-black, Craig Taylor. Well, the Taylor duo are out again. Craig for his second outing, Glyn for his third. And Justin Walker and Richard Webb, they're the men both with 2 points to their name so far, who have got the job of trying to pull their team level or maybe even putting them into the lead. But that's going to be quite a tall order. Glyn Taylor, certainly a man full of experience. He's going to be difficult to beat once he gets the hang of this track. And he's hit the front. But it's the 2 Hitmen in second and third, and Webb challenges on the inside. Oh, wide sweep there by Craig Taylor. Tried to go around both the Buxton men at the same time, but lost it. But he's recovering now. It's pretty tight. Glyn Taylor leads from Webb. Third place, it's Walker with Craig Taylor, the man at the back. Oh, and Craig Taylor comes charging through. Underneath Justin Walker there. Justin Walker fights back. Has he got him? Yes, he's... Oh, there's contact. Down goes Craig Taylor. We're going to have a red light on, I think, with that one. Will Justin Walker be excluded? No, well, it's continuing. Craig Taylor is up and back on his machine. He may not be too happy with Justin Walker there. It seemed from my view that there was contact. The winner in the end is Glyn Taylor. He's won his second race out of 3 starts, so he goes on to 8 points. Second is Richard Webb. The action was all behind those two as Craig Taylor first of all tried to swoop round the outside of both Webb and Walker. That was unsuccessful. Got past Justin Walker on the third lap. Walker fought back, charged through underneath. Looked as though there was contact, and I thought for a minute that Justin Walker might be seeing the wrath of the referee, but no, Craig Taylor certainly didn't make a meal of it. He got up back on his bike, the race continued, and it finished with a shared race of 3-3. That's the second in succession and the third of the evening, and that keeps the Potters 2 in front, because progressively, with 7 races gone, the Hitmen move on to 20 points, but the Potters just have their noses in front on 22. Heat 8, no rider in red, blue Jason Reed, white A.D. Hoole, yellow-black Drew Wheeldon. Well, the sheep there on the hills of the Derbyshire countryside, not interested in the speedway in any way. They'd rather just continue to eat the grass back there on the speedway track in this picturesque part of Derbyshire. The riders getting ready for heat number 8. Well, this is the first occasion when I think this new ruling, which means that because Scott Donovan has to have 3 rides, because he's gone to hospital, nobody can replace him here in heat number 8. And particularly in this Academy League, it's not all about winning, it's about entertaining the public and bringing them in through the gate. Lots of these junior tracks, Academy tracks I should say, are struggling financially, and really this is just cheating the crowd too. The rule I think is ridiculous, and it's only the public that are getting cheated. It doesn't matter the results so much, particularly at this level. We all like to see our team win, but We're here to entertain the public, and by just having 3 riders out in a race doesn't entertain the public, in my opinion. Okay, so poor old Jason Reed, who is out of point to his name so far, a fall and a retirement to him. He's got to take on the 2 potters on his own, Eddie Hoole and Drew Wheeldon. Drew Wheeldon has 2 third places, Eddie Hoole so also, but Jason Reed gets a reasonable start. Eddie Hoole hit the front, and the battle for second place. They're side by side. It looks as though it's just about Wheeldon in it, but Reed stays wide, looking for the extra drive outside. I think he might be better to try and cut inside. Up front, Eddie Hoole has this race well and truly in the bag. And now Drew Wheeldon is pulling away in second spot. We move into the halfway stage of the meeting. It looks as though Stoke could return back to a 6-point advantage, unless Jason Reed can get up there with Drew Wheeldon and overcome him in this last lap and a quarter. Eddie Hoole's having the time of his life. He's nearly half a lap in front of the other 2. But Jason Reed not quite putting the pressure on Drew Wheeldon that he needs to do to try and force a mistake from the Stoke number 7. Checkered flag's gone out already for Eddie Hoole. Drew Wheeldon takes the paid win, and poor Jason Reed, though, at last gets off the mark, but not at the expense of a visiting rider. He just takes 3rd place on the wrong end of a 5-1, and that means that at the halfway stage, Jason Reed's single point moves the Hitmen on to 21, but the Hoole Wheeldon 5 points is enough to see their team up there on 27 points as they come round for the lap of honour, and they will return to the pits at the halfway stage with their team manager Jim McMillan in a pretty happy frame of mind, I'm sure. Before we go with the second half of the meeting, I believe we're going to see the first of the match races tonight between Peter Collins and Chris Morton. That will be worth watching. We'll be going with that in a moment. The Golden Shoe Challenge Trophy, Heat 1. Red, Peter Collins. Blue, Chris Morton. Well, down there on the track we see the 2 great stars of yesteryear just being photographed for the magazines before the first of their match races here, which is tonight for the Golden Shoe Challenge Trophy. Well, Chris Morton certainly had an opportunity to practice on his new home track, and he would probably start as favourites to pick up at least a 2-1 advantage, I would think, over his old rival and friend PC, but this is the first one of what they hope to be many. We were down there filming at the Telford Ice International in February, and the annual speedway event down there on the Telford Ice Rink, and PC and Mort put out a 3-match display in both the afternoon and the evening meetings. If my memory serves me correctly, they finished up at 3 races each, and I'm sure that this is the first one here of many of the season. They certainly said to me then they were hoping to put a package together and go visiting a few tracks around the country if they could get the respective promoters interested, and I'm sure they didn't have to work too hard to get the promoters interested here, because of course Chris is the promoter here. Well, they're on the old traditional 2-valve Jawa bikes, not really seen in speedway circles for many a season, and it will be interesting to see how these go. I'm sure many people at the speedway here tonight haven't seen these bikes in action before. Not quite as powerful as the 4 valves that are being used now, of course, but many people still hanker after them, say that there was much more down to the skill of the rider than the power of the bikes, and not always what is said about the racing today. Well, Chris Morton, he's the first to get in motion, and there's a different sound to that bike, isn't there? They don't sound the same as the 4-valvers, but we can remember the old days of Ivan Major, Peter Collins, Chris Morton. Those were the days when these speedway greats were on track riding these machines regularly, and let's see what they can serve up for us tonight. Well, Mort's had a couple of practice laps. Peter Collins has now got going. Those bright red and blue leathers, both of them sporting Bellevue race jackets. And although I'm quite sure that both of these guys would like to win, the most important thing again with these guys is to entertain the crowd, and As their old bones get even older and the muscles get a little bit stiffer, it's not quite as easy to throw the machines round the corners as it was in their heyday, of course. But we know Mort's been practicing around here. Whether PC has or not, I don't know. Chris Morton seems to be taking off his position on the inside there with PC off the back, off the outside in what would be grid number 4. But it's inside to Mort, outside to PC here in the first of these match races. Pretty close into the bend, but Peter Collins just wide, and Morton capitalises and hits the front, but Peter Collins looking for the outside line. He was so famous of coming round the outside, but tonight most of the overtaking's been on the inside. What's going to happen here? We're in the second lap. Peter Collins has found that line. He's charged through on the inside there, and he's hit the front. Entertainers all the way. Mort fights back into lap 3. It's Mort from PC. Both wearing number 3s, of course, but easily distinguishable. I think it's fair to say PC's put on a pound or two since he retired. Into the last lap. Can PC put in a last challenge on the inside of Mort? He certainly can. He got the extra drive, shooting out that second bend, hits the front going into the back straight. This is where Chris Mort fought back. Not quite this time, and on the line it's Peter Collins who takes the first win. Well, excitement all the way there. The two Valjowers did us proud. I made that from my angle that PC just got the first win there over Mort. We wait confirmation from the referee. And a lap of honour, I'm sure, for both of them. Yes, the crowd very appreciative. There must have been 4 or 5 overtakes in that one race just between two men, so they certainly know how to provide the entertainment, and they'll feel quite at home on those two Valjowers. Back to the pits they go. One up then to PC, but I'm sure there'll be more battles. Well, we certainly know there's going to be 2 more battles as the evening progresses here in Buxton. Heat 9, red, Andre Compton, blue, Jamie Isherwood, white, rider replacement outing for Chris Cobby, yellow-black, Colin Thorpe. Well, another race that looks pretty exciting. It's 21 to the Hitmen, 27 to the Potters. The most successful duo for the Hitmen. The 3-4 duo of Compton and Isherwood out here. They've picked up the only heat advantage that's gone the Hitmen's way so far. That was a maximum back there in a very exciting Heat 5 after missing the gate. Chris Cobby has a couple of points to his name from 2 starts. Colin Thorpe, though, has only dropped 1 point so far, and that was to the flying Mark Burrows. So he's on paid 8 from 3. What can gonna unfold here in the second half of the meeting as we start and look at heat number 9, and still, of course, half this meeting still to go, plus 2 more rides from the Mort PC battle. From the inside then it's rider replacement Chris Cobby. Next to him is Jamie Isherwood. Colin Thorpe's the man in gate 3 with Andre Compton off the outside in red. Well, it's Cobby who's got the best start. He's certainly got those gating skills, has done it a couple of times already but been unable to hold it. Drifts wide there and Compton's through. Isherwood, though, has taken a spill at the bottom end. He's up and cleared the track. Meanwhile, Andre Compton has charged through past Chris Cobby and into the lead. Well, that's a disappointment from the home side because they would have fancied some points off Jamie Isherwood here. But Andre Compton's doing the business out there in the lead at the moment. Craig Taylor makes a mistake on this bottom bend on lap 3. So he's really drifted out a bit, but of course there are only 3 men left in it. He's insured of a point. Cobby tries to fight back on Compton. But Compton's got the right line and got the 3 points as he goes round out past that checkered flag to pick up his second win in succession, and once again from the back. Disappointment though for Jamie Isherwood. Although Chris Cobby once again got the best start, it looked as though the Hitmen were going to battle through from the back, but a spill there to Isherwood meant that he took no further part, and although Andre Compton won it, the Hitmen are still 6 points behind. They could only share that race. It's 24-30 the progressive score, with 7 races still to come. Heat 10, red Mark Burrows, no rider in blue, white Glyn Taylor, yellow-black Craig Taylor. Well, once again, this ridiculous rule that means that one team is only allowed to put out one rider is brought into place, but thankfully that's the last time. This is the last programme ride for poor old Scott Donovan, so this should be the last time that the Hitmen are at the disadvantage of only being able to track one rider. But that one rider is Mark Burrows. 2 starts, 2 wins, 6 points to him, and he'll be hoping to at least keep the Hitmen within that 6-point gap that they now find themselves as they trail 30 points to 24. Another win for him here would ensure that, but that would only leave 6 races for the Hitmen to battle back and try and pick up the points. Compton's got his form going, Burrows has 2. There's still hope for them. Here we go with Heat 10. Well, the 2 Taylors get the best start. They push Mark Burrows very, very wide there, but look at him charge around the outside. He's taken them both at one go. It was a real disadvantage starting off the outside there, and Glyn Taylor, to his credit, did his job perfectly and kept Burrows out to the side, but really Burrows battled back with a superb double overtake on the 3rd and 4th bend. He's coming under pressure now though, and Glyn Taylor's fought back and recaptured the lead. Now then, can Burrows do anything in this last lap? He's charging on the inside this time. That's the faster line tonight. Oh, he's nearly sandwiched between the 2 potters. Glyn Taylor, entertainment's high tonight. Oh, Craig Taylor's pushed Matt Burrows on there, but he didn't quite make it, and Matt Burrows though has dropped a point. But what an exciting race. Well, he was well and truly squeezed out in the first 2 bends, but charged around the outside coming out of bends 3 and 4. That looked to be the race all over, but Glyn Taylor was having none of that. Moved into lap 3 and he forced his way through on the inside. He never gave up. He was always in a challenging position on Burrows, and once he regained the lead, he stayed there, and that was a terrific race again, and a heat advantage to the Potters, which gives them an 8-point lead, which may not be the end of the world for the Hitmen, because they are now in the position where they could use tactical substitutes, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a double one coming out really with Burrows and Compton, and that might really, a maximum to them there could really put them back in it. Well, we'll have to wait and see what team manager Jack Lee decides, but that would be my tactics, but then I'm not a team manager. 26 then to the Hitmen, 34 to the Potters, 6 races to come. Heat 11, red Richard Webb, blue Justin Walker, white Chris Cobby, yellow-black Adi Hoole. Well, surprisingly, no changes to the Buxton lineup. It is the Webb Walker duo who've come out. As we said earlier, of course, results not everything. It's entertainment that counts, and it can be a little bit disappointing to be pulled out from your ride, but certainly I think Buxton's best chance was to double tactical substitute here with the 2 flying men, Burrows and Compton, but that's not to be. And what they really do need is a heat advantage here. They mustn't let Stoke get any further away. Cobby and Hoole are capable of doing it though, particularly the fast starting Chris Cobby. And indeed it is the Potters who hit the front. It's Hoole leading from Cobby, Webb 3rd and Walker at the back. The Hitmen needed this like a hole in the head. No change to the riding order in this one. That's unusual. They've gone 2 laps without an overtake. Still Hoole leading Cobby, with Webb not really close enough to put in any challenge, and Justin Walker a long way back at the rear. And I think that's about the first race where the positions have remained unaltered right through. Eddie Hoole picks up the win. Chris Cobby gets the paid win, and Stoke look to be home and dry now. That 4 points takes them into a 12-point lead with just 5 races remaining. Everything for the Buxton Hitmen to do, not a lot of time to do it. 27 to the home side, 39 to the visitors, and Chris Cobby and Eddie Hoole will be celebrating there, and certainly Eddie Hoole coming round for a lap of honour. Chris Cobby doing a practice style on the back straight. We'll perhaps join him later, but certainly it's very, very much now Stoke in the driving seat in this Academy League Speedway match at the High Edge Raceway, Buxton. Heat 12, red Andre Compton, blue tactical substitute ride for Mark Burrows, white Glyn Taylor, yellow-black Colin Thorpe. Well, it really is muck and nettles time now for Buxton. They got the big two together. They've moved Mark Burrows in as a tactical substitute for Jason Reed. But Glyn Taylor had the beating of Mark Burrows. That was back there in heat number 10. Terrific race. And he's one of part of the opposition again. Colin Thorpe's only dropped 2 points. He's been paid for 10 from 4 starts already. He'll be looking to get in amongst them again. No maximums tonight. The only man who could have done it, Mark Burrows, dropped a point last time out. Andre Compton, of course, has looked very good in his last 2 starts, but engine problems in his first one ruled out a possible maximum for him. Let's see what transpires. Some big names hit the track here in heat number 12. Oh, Glyn Taylor and Andre Compton side by side there, and Compton shows in front. Taylor attacks on the outside through. Now comes charging Mark Burrows. Well, it's all happening here. It's Compton who's just about to establish himself into the lead. Taylor's coming under pressure now from Burrows, who in turn's coming under pressure from Thorpe. Oh, and now Taylor challenges on top on Compton. Oh, it's all happening. What a battle going on here. Taylor goes to go on the long route round the outside. Has he got it? No, Compton fights him off as we move into the last lap. Burrows is there or thereabouts again. Oh, he's got past him. Taylor's pushed wide. Compton's won this one now. Has Burrows done enough for the paid win? Terrific race again. Compton makes a mistake on the last, but just enough. Oh, wow, you couldn't describe that race, could you? Everything happened there. Andre Compton and Glyn Taylor had a rare old battle. Rare old battle. Eventually, with Glyn Taylor trying to go round on the outside, Andre Compton just showed a length or 2 in front, and Mark Burrows charged through on the last lap. Forced Taylor wide, captured second spot, and although Compton made a mistake on the last bend, Burrows had kept Taylor back long enough to allow Compton time to recover from the mistake, keep the win. Burrows gets the paid win there. The Hitmen are back in it. The deficit's down to 8, and another terrific, exciting race there in heat number 12. 32-40 the score. The Buxton Hitmen won't lie down. They're going to battle this right down to the wire. Heat 13, Mark Burrows red, blue Richard Webb, white Chris Cobby, yellow-black rider replacement for Eddie Hoole. Well, the Buxton manager resists the temptation to throw Andre Compton in as a tactical substitute this time to put the Compton-Burrows duo together again. With the Hitmen still 8 points down, that is possible. The last rider replacement outing goes to Eddie Hoole for the Potters. Although they do have a number 8 tonight, Chris Simpson, he has not got an outing. He's just got the experience in the pits. I'm sure that's done him a bit of good, but no outing in the main match. He'll probably be out in the junior second half. So there's the final rider replacement outing. The Hitmen, though, really need to get heat advantages as they did in the last race. Oh, that's a heavy spill. Mark Burrows and Chris Cobby got tangled up there. Machinery was tangled up there coming into that first bend, and they're both still down there on track. I think they just pinned under the bike. I'm not sure if the injuries are too severe, although Chris Cobby isn't moving. The bike's pinning both of them down at the moment. Cobby got another traditionally good start, but as he seemed to throw his back wheel out slightly, that caught up with Burrows' front wheel. They both went tumbling and hit the deck. We'll be going with a rerun of Heat 13. I'm sure there won't be an exclusion there because that really was a case of bunching up there in the first bend as the riders came together. It was a reasonably even start. Chris Cobby's still down there on track. Mark Burrows looks to be up and okay. We hope that Chris Cobby's not too badly injured, that he can take his place in the restart, which I'm sure he will be allowed to do. There's no exclusions from referee Dowling, and when that rerun comes, I'm sure we'll be there, hopefully with the same 4 guys back at the start, as we hope that Chris Cobby makes a pretty speedy recovery. He's not too much damage to his machinery. Let's hope the rider is equally undamaged. Although he is still down there being attended to, our best wishes go to him. We'll be going with the rerun in just a moment. Well, after some delay, we are ready to go with the rerun. Chris Cobby, after some attention, did get up and walk from the track, refused a ride in the ambulance, but is unable to take his place in the rerun. Took a bit of a knock, not too serious, it meant a hospital visit, but enough to keep him out of the rerun, and his place is being taken by reserve Colin Thorpe. Colin already has paid 10 from 5 starts, so he's a more than adequate replacement here. Eddie Hoole, he's out here for the Potters, with after 2 third places to start with, has had 2 wins in his last 2 outings. So with the Hitmen really needing a heat advantage, it's Mark Burrows and Richard Webb with a difficult race in front of them here, but one which really must produce a heat advantage if the Hitmen are going to get up there alongside Stoke tonight. Well, we may well see another rider, another tactical substitute, with Andre Compton coming out in Heat 14, but of course the Hitmen have to be 8 points behind, and a heat advantage here to them would not enable them to have that facility in the Heat 14. Buzz Burrows, Mark Burrows down there having problems with his machine. A new bike is being brought out to him by a colleague. I think that is Andre Compton, but he's happy enough with the one he's got. He's decided to stick with it, and he makes his way to the tapes for the restart of Heat 13. So the new man in white, as we said, is Colin Thorpe, and he's on the inside. Mark Burrows, gate 2 red. Eddie Hoole, 2 wins from his last 2 starts, wears yellow-black gate 3. Richard Webb, the man off the outside, in blue. 32-40 the score. Oh, Mark Burrows, perhaps he should have changed the bike. He was out there battling away with Eddie Hoole for the lead when his bike died on him. And that bike that was brought out for him, perhaps he should have taken up on that. Richard Webb has battled his way past Eddie Hoole, but he's got Colin Thorpe in front of him. Now he's hit the front. Colin Thorpe's been relegated to second. Well, Richard Webb's really done the business here. Eddie Hoole comes through to take up the challenge for the Potters. Well, if only Mark Burrows could have kept going there, this could have been the 5-1 that the Hitmen needed to turn this match around. Into the last lap. It's still Webb. No, Hoole charges through on the inside. He's pushed his opponent wide, and that allows Colin Thorpe through. As he grabs second, no, Richard Webb's recaptured second spot, but will be disappointed to have lost the lead on that last lap. It's Eddie Hoole who went from first down to third and back up to first again, who wins that one. Richard Webb relegated to second spot, with Colin Thorpe picking up third, and disappointment for Mark Burrows as he walks back towards the pits, with Andre Compton pushing the conked out machine there. A disappointment. As we say, there was a chance for another machine. Mark decided not to take that option, stick with his own. It was a mistake, but never mind, these are mistakes do happen. But it's looking good now for the Potters. With 3 races to go, they have a 10-point advantage. They lead by 44 points to 34 with 3 to go. Heat 14, red, Jamie Isherwood. Blue, tactical substitute outing for Andre Compton. White, Craig Taylor. Yellow-black, Drew Wheeldon. Well, the Hitmen really need 3 maximum 5-1 races to pick up a win here. That doesn't seem likely. They needed really that Mark Burrows' engine to keep going in the last one, and also for the tactical substitute maybe to have been used a little bit earlier. Andre Compton does come in this one. He's replaces Justin Walker, who's only picked up 3 in a bonus so far. And he comes in to join Jamie Isherwood, who has been his regular partner, the 3-4 duo. Earlier in the meeting they were together. Now they're back together again, this time though with Jamie in the red helmet, Andre in the blue. Craig Taylor, Drew Wheeldon, the opposition. Craig Taylor not been as successful as the other Taylor. He's picked up 2 points from his 3 starts. Drew Wheeldon has 4 points from 3. Here we go then. Heat 14, a do-or-die race for Buxton. The red lights are on, and now whether somebody touched the tapes or not, I don't know. Andre Compton got a good start. Whether it was an unsatisfactory start or the tape touching offence, we'll have to wait for the referee's decision. Yes, it was an unsatisfactory start, so we will be having all 4 riders back.
So with the minimum of delay, all 4 riders back at the tapes with the tactical substitute Andre Compton off the inside looking to repeat the start he made first time out. Here we go then, rerun of 14. Well, again, Compton gets a good start. He's hit the front by the first corner. Craig Taylor's the main challenger, but charging underneath of him comes Jamie Isherwood, and Hitmen are on a 5-1 at the moment. Compton, no, Taylor's fought his way back past Isherwood and recaptured second spot. Isherwood made a mistake there, and he's now coming to try. No, oh, it's a fall at the bend 3 there for Isherwood. The race is continuing though. It's still, oh, now another faller down there is Craig Taylor. He's hit the deck and the red lights are on. Now what is the referee going to decide about this? Certainly Jamie Isherwood there having trouble to get up, seems to be pinned beneath the bike, but Craig Taylor also took his spill and the race is stopped. Now who will be blamed for that? I suspect that Jamie Isherwood maybe would get the exclusion light there. The riders were approaching him when the red lights came on. But was Craig Taylor under power? Well, we'll have to wait and see. We'll be going with the second rerun of heat number 14.
You'd already caught it because sometimes. So the referee's decision is that Jamie Isherwood fell and was excluded for being the cause of the stoppage, but Craig Taylor wasn't under power because he'd fallen and he is also excluded. So we'll be going with a rerun now with just 2 riders, and Andre Compton, the tactical substitute, will be up against Drew Wheeldon, but even a 3-2 here that the Hitmen would be expecting to get probably won't be enough, because that will still put them 9 points behind with 2 races to go. So it looks as though the glory is going to Stoke tonight, but applause for both teams as they put on a terrific display. And that first race fall for Scott Donovan, and from which he took no further part, was to prove a costly thing for the home team, and they really never recovered from being a man short. But here we go with the another rerun of heat number 14, and Andre Compton getting a good start and hitting in the front. Drew Wheeldon a fair way back at the end of the first lap. He's a good 10 lengths in arrears already. Well, what can you say about a 2-man race where there's so much difference between them? It had all the hallmarks of a 3-2 with Andre Compton in such good form. Drew Wheeldon won't be too disappointed though. This will take his tally up to 6, and he's going to get this 2 points here without any real effort. And but it could actually be he could be the man who actually wins the meeting for the Potters, because his 2 points will make sure that the Potters are 9 up with just 2 races to go, and short of a 5-0 can't be beaten here tonight. Well, Andre Compton picks up his 4th win, and he's looked pretty well untouchable tonight. Disappointment in his first ride when he had those engine problems, of course. That probably cost him a maximum, but he now is on 15 points. Rather, he's on 12 points from 4 starts. Would have been on 15 had he not had that first race problem, of course. But the 3-2 there gives us a progressive score of 37 to the Hitmen, 46 to the Potters, a 9-point advantage with just 2 races to go. But 2 more races, of course, for of the Chris Morton, Peter Collins duo still to come as well. The Golden Shoe Challenge Trophy Heat 2, once again red, Peter Collins, blue, Chris Morton.
Well, this time Peter Collins has the inside grid. Chris Morton takes the outside start position. Again, it's PC in red, Morton blue, and it's Peter Collins who gets the better start. He's hit the front. Could he make this 2-0? It's over his shoulder. Mort's not far away, and trying to keep up a challenge on his friend and rival there at the end of lap 1. But it's still PC heading Mort, and he's opening up a few lengths on him at the moment too. Well, Chris Morton was having a few engine problems before the start of this race. It took a while to get out on track, and I think those are maybe letting him down again at the moment. Not really close enough to put in a challenge on Peter Collins, although he is still in contention. But with just over a lap to go, it's PC looking as though he's going to make the scoreline 2-0 here into the last lap. Mort's had it now. He's pulled over. He's had engine problems, and disappointment there for the Buxton promoter. He cannot compete. Engine not up to it, as Peter Collins celebrates there as he takes his tally to 2-0 in the match race sequence against Morton.
Webb.
Heat 15,
Blue,
red Richard Webb, blue Jamie
black,
Isherwood,
Craig
white
Taylor.
Colin Thorpe, yellow black Craig
Taylor.
Taylor.
Down there at the starting gate.
46.37, and as we look through the smoke that seems to be coming out of the rear of Craig Taylor's bike down there at the tapes, it's the match points in the bag for the Potters. It certainly seems to be pretty thick, but Craig Taylor, it is definitely his bike. It's coming out of, and how the start marshal can see what he's doing, I'm not sure, but the race is off. And the smoking Craig Taylor it is who hits the front, with Colin Thorpe up there in second place. Thorpe's now passed him into the lead. Richard Webb comes charging through on the inside of Craig Taylor, and has he captured second spot? Well, through the mist, yes he has. Now he's challenging for the lead past Thorpe. Craig Taylor battles back. Taylor has gone from first to third and back to into the lead again, with Richard Webb in second spot. Now Richard Webb's having to defend second place from Colin Thorpe. Does so as they move into lap 3. Taylor then, Webb, Thorpe and Isherwood the riding order. A lap and a half to go. Taylor now looking as though he's got this race in the bag. Richard Webb, I'm sure, going to come under some pressure from Colin Thorpe. There's a faller at the bottom end. Jamie Isherwood's hit the deck. The red lights are on, and that's 3 falls in succession for Jamie after 2 second places earlier on. Well, that will be an awarded race with a 4-2 advantage to the Stoke Potters. They'll take their lead to 11 points with 1 to go.
Heat 16, red Andre Compton, blue Mark Burrows, white Eddie Hoole, yellow black Glyn Taylor. Well, here we are on the top of the world, and it's almost the highest peak in Derbyshire. It seemed like that driving up here anyway, and the last race of the Academy League is about to take place. Well, this was called the Junior League last year, the Reserve League, but with Glyn Taylor in, he certainly couldn't be called a junior, and he really only qualifies because it is the Academy League. He's been around a bit as our Glyn, but he's found a niche for himself this year at Stoke. They've won the match tonight. They are 50-39 up with 1 race to go, but what a finale it looks like being, with Andre Compton, Mark Burrows, Eddie Hoole and Glyn Taylor out here, all with big wins under their belts. Mark Burrows only dropped 1 point before that engine failure. Andre Compton's won every race except for that first race engine problem. Eddie Hoole's won his last 3 starts, and Glyn Taylor, he's had 3 wins from 5 starts too. So what a way to finish. We've still got a PC versus Mort race to come after this, but without the floodlights, of course. The night just starting to draw in slightly. It's now 9:30, and it's Heat 16 about to get underway. From the inside then, it's Compton in red, Hoole in white, Burrows in blue, with Taylor wearing yellow-black off gate 4. Nothing left for the Hitmen but pride here in Heat 16. Can they do it? Let's wait and see. It's another flyer for Andre Compton, but his partner Mark Burrows is squeezed out at the back. Glyn Taylor's charged through on the inside. Oh, Compton's recovered it, but Taylor battles again on the outside. Oh, Oh, the two Stoke men seem to come into contact. Hoole drops back a bit. That allows Burrows. Oh, I was just going to say Burrows a chance on the inside. He caught Eddie Hoole's bike and took a spill, and the red lights are on. That looked a heavy one. Now then, what's the referee going to do about this? He's got to exclude somebody. That was at the end of the second lap, and it was brewing up. Somebody's got to go, I'm afraid. We didn't want that race to stop. Mark Burrows is up on his feet, so he's obviously not injured. Took a fairly heavy spill, though. We'll have to wait referee Dowling's decision on that as to who is being excluded. Surely it would either have to be Eddie Hoole or Mark Burrows. They were the two involved in it. Burrows just seemed to catch the back wheel there of Eddie Hoole, who had lost a bit of ground having come into contact with his partner Glyn Taylor at the previous bend. At the moment we can't see an exclusion light on, and nobody seems to be leaving the track. Whether the referee has decided that the match is over and to give the crowd a little bit more entertainment, he'll leave all four in. I don't quite know how he can come to that decision under the rules, but certainly nobody seems to be trying to get out there and leave the track. We'll be going with the rerun in just a moment. Well, the referee's decision is an exclusion for Mark Burrows, and we're now going with the rerun with just 3 riders in it, and that will take some of the excitement away, I'm sure, because Mark Burrows is a very, very exciting guy. He hasn't made the best of starts tonight, but has been pretty impressive coming through from the back. And he was doing his utmost to do just that when he clipped the back wheel of Eddie Hoole, found himself excluded, and now we're just left with the top 3 left in this final race. Compton, Hoole and Taylor. Well, nobody's taken a point off Andre Compton except when his engine died. Can he keep that record going here in the last race? He's got a bad start. Well, he's forced his way through past Glyn Taylor and into second spot. Can he now catch Eddie Hoole, who has won the last 3 starts, last 3 races? Certainly discovered the fastest way around now. Compton has got a bit to do. Got a lot of ground to make up. And he'll be disappointed because he was leading this race fairly comfortably when it was stopped. But I don't think he's going to catch Eddie Hoole, who's got a big lead with just over a lap to go. And it looks as though somebody is going to take a point off Compton in racing here tonight. And that man is Eddie Hoole. Compton just wide. Glyn Taylor comes charging through to try and make it a double swoop. But it's Eddie Hoole who takes the checkered flag. Andre Compton finishes in second. He'll be disappointed with that after leading the first running. Glyn Taylor battled all the way there but had to settle for 3rd place. But his team gets another heat advantage. A 4-2 in the last race. And that gives us a final scoreline then of tonight's British Speedway Academy League match of the Buxton High Edge Hitmen 41 points. The Stoke Potters 54. Victory for the visitors, and lap of honour there for Eddie Hoole, who has now won 4 races on the trot. 54 then to 41 in favour of the Potters. Victory for them. 2 Academy League points go to them for tonight's victory. Congratulations from us and everyone else here for an inspired victory. A great meeting, some terrific racing, lots and lots of entertainment. The Academy League is alive and well and thriving. Let's hope the crowds keep it going throughout the country. Victory then, and the last reminder of the score: Buxton 41, Stoke 54. The Golden Shoe Challenge Trophy, Heat 3. Once again, red, Peter Collins, blue, Chris Morton. And with PC having the victory tonight, can Chris get a little bit of revenge here and win the last outing? As the light starts to fade slightly, we go with the final race of the evening. Stoke have picked up victory in the Academy League. PC has beaten Morton in the challenge races, but could it be last blood and a little bit of revenge to Mort here in this last race? Well, with the light nights, of course, Friday Night Speedway is going on here at Buxton tonight. No competition up there at Bellevue. They're away from home, and a good contingent has come down to watch the Academy League. That's nice to see. But without the floodlights, of course, as the nights draw in, Friday evening speedway is not going to be possible here at Buxton unless they start earlier, of course, but that is difficult. It's not the easiest place to get to after Friday work and the Friday rush hours and the surrounding motorways. Well, Chris Morton still seems to be encountering some problems with the engine, a few gremlins there. Let's hope he can get that going. The referee's got them on less than 1 minute, but I think he would be lynched if he excluded Chris Morton here in this series of challenge races for missing the 2-minute time allowance. I'm sure there would be a riot. That's not going to happen, is it? No, of course not. Anyway, Mort, I'm sure we'll be up at the tapes there along with PC in a minute. And a real blast from the past tonight as we see these two valve Jawas. And at last Morton is mobile. And of course after this we'll give you the individual scorers for the Academy League match tonight. Here we go then. This time it's PC's turn to be on the outside. The last race of the evening gets underway now. Enjoy this, you speedway buffs. These guys don't take the track too often these days. Oh yes, a good start from Mort this time. Oh no, dearie dear. No, the engine's gone again. His engine's gone again. Well, it's just a walk over then for Peter Collins and a whitewash for him tonight. So we'll just have to settle for seeing the old Maestro in action. Mort's been lapped, so it's a 3-0 victory to PC. So we'll just see the style of the old warhorse here. The 1976 world champion, of course. And one of the few riders who picked up the world championship without really being a gator. PC was a racer, not so much a gator, and one of those riders that thrill the crowds all over the country but never quite get the accolades they deserve because they're not that fast out of the traps. But PC got that world championship back in '76 and everybody in the world celebrated then. Well, he takes his third checkered flag of the evening. Disappointing that it was just a one-man race there, but that brings our coverage of the racing here tonight to an end. But as I say, we'll be coming with you with the individual scorers from tonight's meeting in just a moment.
Okay, it was a 3-0 whitewash for PC over Chris Morton, but back to the main meeting. We're now speaking to Glyn Taylor of the Stoke Potters. A good win for the Potters tonight, Glyn.
Yeah, excellent, excellent.
The racing was better than the scoreline suggests, I would think.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't know what the score was, but I know we won. And, you know... Well,
there's the score.
Yeah, 54-41 is a great result. And like I say, the racing was pretty intense. I never had a chance to watch any of the other races because I was like full on doing my own thing. And, you know, I had some good races and yeah, I was quite happy. I wasn't real pleased with the track when we got here, but it's the same track for everybody. And, you know, we just give it our best shot.
Okay. Well, you have a lot of leg pulls about it being the oldest junior in town. I think you're one of the oldest men in Speedway, but I think Vaclav Werner of Exeter just about pushes you into second place. So what's this leg pulling like?
Well, yeah, just a bit of leg pulling, but it's like anything. You know, I say, like I'm 42 years old this year, and anyone who's 42 think they can outrun me, come and have a go. You know, I train hard, I try very hard, I love Speedway, and that's why I do it. And it's just disappointing, really, that the British Speedway Promoters Association allow the situation to develop where the Academy League is really struggling. You know, and you've seen yourself today, some of the racing's fantastic, it's as good as Premier League, if not better. But, you know, the BSPA don't see it that way, and, you know, the BSPA Senior Speedway needs to be propping up the Academy League. And if it means financially, we'll get off their backsides and bloody we'll do it, because at the end of the day, it's for their benefit.
Could do with a link-up parent track for in the Premier League, you know, helping out the Academy League, really.
Well, okay, what I believe should happen is that if I want to go and ride in the Danish League, there's only allowed to have 2 foreign riders. If you want to ride in the German League, you're only allowed to have 2 foreign riders. everywhere else in the world, but over here it's open slab and it does nothing to help the English lads. And that is a big problem. And, you know, as soon as they wake up to themselves and realise that, okay, it's all right for them to say, oh, the talent isn't there, it never will be there if it's not nurtured and helped along, because, you know, like the Joe Screens don't come along every day. They've got to be made. Riders have got to be helped along. And, you know, like the Premier League has been good this year, but I think for the riders it's been a downfall because it's made the gap wider. And I haven't got an answer. You know, I think the man who has got the answer is probably sitting at the chair table at the BSPA. And I would like to see at least 3 Englishmen in every team, and maybe let the standard drop a bit. That they've got to help these young blokes coming through now, because if they don't, in 5 years' time they'll be relying solely on the EEC countries to supply riders to them, and that they've made it almost impossible for Australian and New Zealand riders to come here now. So, you know, all I can say is, bloody wake up to yourself.
Okay, well, back again to the Stoke Potters. You're sort of like, as a coach as well, you gene up these young lads. That you've got a wealth of experience, as we've said, but you're like more like a coach than just a rider, aren't you?
Yeah, you know, I try to help all the lads. You know, I don't know what to say really, other than I try to help them with whatever experience I can give them. They either take it or they reject it. If they take it and it works for them, great. If they don't take it, well, that's fine. You know, it's I just try to help them with any way I can. You know, with different bike setups and different things on the track. And you know, there's quite a few of these young lads that, you know, beat me fair and square. And they beat me because they've got more heart. You know, I'm not prepared to go in as hard as they are, because, you know, I'm just sort of here to enjoy myself and have a good time and enjoy Speedway.
Well, you seem like you're enjoying Speedway. That race you had with Mark Burrows, you and Buzz were, well, you were bussing, weren't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, it's good if you can have a race like that, no one gets hurt. Yeah. But unfortunately, in the Academy League, you can't really have races like that all the time, because the guys just haven't got the experience. Buzz has been around a long time. He's got a bit of a reputation of being a maniac and a suicide man, but bloody hell, he's a great competitor, you know, and I don't consider him to be a maniac, because he just tries. He gives 110%, and any rider that gives 110%, there's only one winner, and that's the spectators, and that's who we're all here for.
Well, that sums up the Academy League, I think. Everybody gives 110%. Thanks for speaking to us, Glenn.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're speaking to the former World Speedway champion and the man who won 3-0 in the match races tonight, Peter Collins. Peter, you managed to beat your old mate Chris into second place 3 times.
I thought the first one was very close, actually. I thought Chris had won the first one, but you could be right. I know it was very close. But I enjoyed it here tonight. The track was a little bit bumpy, it was a little bit difficult, but I think that goes for most of the riders riding on here. They find it a bit difficult with the shape.
Okay, what do you think of Chris Morton's new little stadium here?
Well, I mean, I think it's great. I think probably one of the things that Chris needs to be doing is trying to run, you know, some more training schools and that, really. I think that's his main priority at the moment. But I mean, the team's quite successful. They're doing quite well in the Academy League this year, and it's a good little setup. I hope it works out for him.
You've no thoughts of going into promotion?
Not really at this stage. I've no serious thoughts of that. But you know, who knows what the future brings.
What do you make of this Academy League? I know Chris thinks it's essential for the future of British Speedway.
Well, I think it is. I mean, you need a place for the young lads to ride and to get them actually trained, and so they can make it in the big league. And it's an ideal stepping stone for them, really. It's a shame that we haven't had it earlier, because, you know, I think top English riders are a bit scarce at the moment, although we do have a couple of riders that are doing quite well in the World Championships at the moment, in Mark Loram and Chris Louis.
How would you view this new system? You won the World Final in the one-off. What about this Grand Prix? What do you make of it?
Well, I probably would have liked the Grand Prix system when I was riding, but I suppose I'm not really too worried about it, because I won an individual one on a one-off. So, you know, who's to say whether I'd have won one if it was always a Grand Prix? It's just very difficult to say that, but I think I'm very open-minded on it. It's just one of those things where you see how it actually goes, and I mean, the TV company is certainly very, very interested with Sky TV sort of taking it on, and they're very keen to do more Speedway next year, so I mean, that can only be good for the sport.
Okay. So, well, that's one end of the Speedway scale. This is really at the grassroots level now. Tonight's match, though, was great entertainment.
It certainly was. A few thrills and spills, didn't they? Yeah, a few stoppages and a few delays while they straightened the bikes out and so on, but I think everybody seemed to get away with it all right. But very interesting, good speedway.
You enjoyed your night out then?
Absolutely, very good.
Okay, Peter, thanks for speaking to us, and see you soon.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the final score, Buxton 41, Stoke 54. Well, there's the views of Glyn Taylor and the 1976 World Speedway champion Peter Collins, and I'm sure they'll agree with me when we will say that we've had some great racing here at High Edge Raceway tonight. Of course, Stoke Potter is victorious, and straight away we're going to look at the individual scorers, starting with the Hitmen, who scored 41. Mark Burrows, 10 and 1. Scott Donovan failed to score, of course. Andre Compton, 14. Jamie Isherwood, 4. Richard Webb, 9. Justin Walker, 3 and 1. And Jason Reed, 1. For the Potters, who scored 54, skipper Chris Cobby, 6 and 1. Man of the match, really, Adi Hoole, 14 and 1. Glyn Taylor, 13. Craig Taylor, 5. Ride replacement for Mike Hampson at number 5. Colin Thorpe, excellent reserve performance with 10 and 2. Drew Wheeldon, 6. And Chris Simpson failed to get a ride. So as we said, we've been spoilt for some excellent racing tonight, some excellent encounters. Glyn Taylor, Buzz Burrows, they're great racers, aren't they? Well, we've gone back into our studio because we were really getting eaten alive there at High Edge Raceway. There's little bugs and midges getting all of us, and we all got massive big blisters now. And of course, we needed altitude training to go up there into the Derbyshire Hills. We're certainly not used to that where we normally film in Cradley Heath. Well, as we say, Heathens on Video, we normally film at Dudley Wood. This is our first trip to Buxton, and we've thoroughly enjoyed it. We hope you've enjoyed it. So from myself, Brian and Vicky on the production team today, thanks for joining us, and goodbye for now.